Hello everyone, this is White Wolf, and I wanted to talk about staying true to the divine plan and knowing that everything is relevant and everything has a spiritual significance to it, and everything that is coming in your awareness and reflecting back to you and showing you more of your divine essence and your divine purpose, and also just seeing something that maybe you were doing out in public and then suddenly that came up in a TV show that you were watching, and it reflected back to you that you were in sync with what you said, or you were talking about something with somebody, and then somehow that conversation came up and it came out in a business venture. So a lot of things that are happening within this world is all spiritual. It all has a spiritual significance and it all has a spiritual origin, and there is something about relevancy with being present with yourself. So when you see that everything has a non-physical essence and everything has something that has to do with psychic atomic energy, and knowing that it's like if you didn't have the answer to a solution to a problem and then somehow you knew the resolution, or somebody asked you a question, like my girlfriend asked me a question about levitation, and at first I didn't know the answer to that said question, but somehow I gave her the correct answer and I knew how to talk about it. So I just channeled the authentic resonance right then and there, and it was just kind of spur of the moment, but it just happened and it created and it expanded upon itself and empowered itself. So it just changed into something more. So you can allow yourself to train yourself in the ways of the spirit, and knowing that it's not about just forcing yourself to do it, but allow yourself to have fun while you are doing that said thing. If it is telekinesis, if it is levitation, if it is manifesting your life or manifesting money in your car, it has to be fun, and it has to be how you represent it with the words of wisdom, with the way that you dress it. So you can allow yourself to see that by how you're wording it, how you're describing it, how you're putting it into existence, how you're allowing yourself to channel worlds into existence, you realize that you are the master of optical illusions. So you're changing the illusion to align with your frequency, and it's allowing you to understand self-realization. And then you remember that old self, you remember who you really were, and you remember that divine channel that you've always been. You've always been that divine channel. So it's like when you are unwilling to be sensitive, or you're unwilling to address a certain topic, or you bring something up that suddenly causes discomfort, but you have to talk about it. But you address it in a way that the other recipient can learn from you and also understand, engage what they need to do within their journey. So sometimes it's about how you go about things. Sometimes it's about how you describe things. If you want perfect health, you can't keep calling yourself unhealthy. You can't keep calling yourself fat. If you want to manifest worlds into existence, it's not just about writing it down, but it's really about channeling the internal wealth within yourself. It's channeling that embodiment of source energy within yourself, so that you are aligning yourself to the motherboard of creation, so that you can become the vortex that's creating more and adding more within itself. So you multiply with the different energy combinations and different causes and different effects, so that you allow yourself to create within a force field of energy. You allow yourself to see that you are literally just consciousness. You are literally just energy. You are psychic atomic energy. And it's just all about putting your energy where it is needed, and also where your intention is needed. So we were watching a program that was very profound, and we watched it before, but the second time around was very significant, because they were using ways of like remote viewing and also changing the health inside of your water, knowing that if you put your intention, if you put the healthiness and the nutrients within that water, it will be healthy for you. So it's not just about eating healthy, it's not about just exercising, but sometimes it's really setting your frame of mind or your state of consciousness within that realm, so that you can be that bodybuilder that's lifting the weights, that's very healthy, that's getting all the protein and nutrients that it needs. But if you don't have the right set of actions or the right set of thoughts or emotions to really counterbalance how you actually feel and actually the realm that you're encompassing yourself in. So it's like when people are doing remote viewing, you can visualize yourself that you can visualize yourself being in Walmart, being in the storage room at Walmart. You can visualize what that looks like. So how can we allow ourselves to view ourselves doing that said manifestation before it happens, so that it's more authentic, so it's driven by an inner compass inside of ourselves? It's like we allow ourselves to be the motherboard of creation because we're opening ourselves up to remote viewing and teleporting into different manifestations and different realities. So we allow ourselves to see ourselves differently. And as we see ourselves differently, we see ourselves in a different reality. And then what we're doing is that we're projecting what we want out into the ether so that they're sending those signals so that the wires are not crossed. So now the wires are in sync with one another and they're interconnected. So they're interwoven and then they start to lock in. So you allow yourself, it's not just about eating healthy. It's not about just visualizing yourself. But what are you doing? What is the place? What is the setting? What is the time? Are you based in time? Because we realize that we're in the absence of time. So if we're in the absence of time, then that means that we can slow time down and that we can bend reality to the way that we want it. So it's just trying to see ourselves like Doctor Strange, like I was watching the movie Doctor Strange, and I believe a lot of us are a lot like Stephen Strange because of the very fact that we go through the dark night of the soul to initiate that state of awakening. But we do have mentorship and we do have coaching and we do have learning. But then we realize the creator within ourselves, and then we can allow ourselves to change the setting. We can change the weather and see that we're powerful. Our words of wisdom have power. They have heart healing activations. And we have the ability to not literally do anything, but to sit and to be still and resonate within the quiet stillness of consciousness and be able to tap into that 0 point creation to where the light of awareness can appear and be present as the first manifestation. So we can allow ourselves to alleviate anything, no ego, no mind, no body, and then we see ourselves as that non-physical essence of energy. So we can't see ourselves as a solid object. We can't see ourselves as a subject to object relationship, but we have to see ourselves more than. We have to see ourselves as magical. So the alchemy comes from our emotion, but also our intention, but then it aligns with our actions. And then that turns into future motivations, and then they turn into excitement. Then they turn into different aspirations and inspirations and ambitions and goals. And then you achieve those goals, and then there's more. So you're initiating different parallel realities. So it's like, I want to have a podcast. One day I want to have a brewery. I'm really fascinated by craft beer. So I want to have a podcast one day that's called Cigars and Spirituality. So is that a successful podcast? Is that a great brewery? Is that an amazing life that I'm living? Because a lot of people want to do like telekinesis. They want to manifest money out of their car. What I really want to manifest is the fulfillment and the success and the worthiness of my life. So, but that isn't just my view of it, but what is your view? And then you start asking yourself and reevaluating and contemplating, what do I really want? How can I initiate the actions? How can I generate different relationships that will allow me to generate different businesses? And then I have 5 ways of manifesting. So I have 5 things on my hand, 7 different things on my hand. But you can, let's just say 5 because that's a better number. I'm hearing that's an angelic number for a lot of you. So you have 5 things that you're doing all at once that are generating different streams of consciousness, different streams of revenue, and different avenues and prosperity that is allowing you to shift into all of these different parallel aspects. So it could be the monad, the I am presence is coming into balance as well, but this I am presence, this I am presence, this I am presence, and that I am presence, and this I am presence is all in sync, and it's coming back into a circle. So love is a circle. You have to understand that, because it always comes back around and then counterclockwise and then it comes back around and counterclockwise because it has to recalibrate itself. So it doesn't matter which direction you go, you're in a loop, but it's not a toxic loop. So it's not a toxic time loop that you've caught yourself in. You're not lost in a memory. You're not in the reminiscence of a memory. So a lot of us as human beings, we get stuck in these patterns. We get stuck in this toxic way of being. And it's just eliminating the destroyer spirit that is inside of us that wants to be impulsively ridiculous, in a sense, instead of being impulsively awesome. Because there's nothing wrong with impulse, but it's how you use it. There's nothing wrong with being radical. It's all about how you go about it. There's nothing wrong with making spontaneous changes within your life. There's nothing wrong with going for it, but you don't have to be perfect. And that's what the beautiful thing is about meditation. So you realize that you flip the script of your life. You design your life the way that you want it to be. And you have that right, and you have that ability to do that. And now that we remember that it's not about doing something better. It's not about being a wizard at it, but it's doing it in the way that it is designed for you. So that's what the key is. It's not doing something to the precipice to where it works against you. But you have to do it in a way that it suits you and it seems reasonable and it seems like it's going to bring peace and harmony and balance within to your life. So you allow yourself to see that the change that we want within our life is allowing ourselves to relax back into the state of consciousness, but to maintain that consciousness and to just be it fully. So it's like we dramatically shift into the person that we are manifesting, that we are journaling, that we're meditating upon, because we're always meditating upon the I Am Presence, so that God reciprocates itself. And that's why I use the circle analogy. So instead, because most of the time human beings are on, like, I don't know what that saying is, I heard it in a song before, but like the person who's on the circle with knives and stuff, most people are living their life like that. Like they're on a circle and it's spinning and there's knives. I don't know what that's from, or if it's like from a carnival or something like that. But now we break from those knives and we break from those booby traps that world, society, parents, whatever tries to set on us, and we start to flow within the circle of consciousness, the vortex, if you will. So I don't know if I used that analogy the best I could, but I remember hearing something about that. So, and what's funny, but we don't have to be like Doctor Strange, and we don't have to cast any spells. And that's what the beautiful thing is. Because we can project what we want. We can emote what we want. So we can follow the breadcrumb trail of excitement. So the excitement is finding the intention. It's finding the idea before the excitement. And when you find that excitement, you allow yourself to be happy doing what you are doing. So it's not about just fumbling your way through it, just making weird decisions, but just marinate and soak in those DNA codes, those light codes, the source codes of creation. Because we're made of those molecules, those atoms, and that psychic atomic energy, and that particle accelerator, that little mustard seed of that particle accelerator is that seed that you plant within the entire scope of consciousness that grows and multiplies, and that we can be the manifestation of life, that we can be eternal. We can finally live forever. We can be forever young. But it's not thinking about your age, thinking about your height or your weight or what is the physical, but it's about the non-physical essence of reality. So, do you want to be healthy and whole and strong? You have to speak to that. You have to feel that, and you have to imbibe that. So, and we're going to do a meditation so we bring this full circle. And that's what the spiritual journey is bringing everything full circle. So you've had all these experiences, you've had all these relationships, you've had all of these times where you may have been triggered or angry or went through past trauma or you were impoverished. But then you see everything that you had to go through had to get you to where you weren't that person that went through that. And then you see yourself mirrored back to the state of consciousness. You're reflecting God and looking into the eyes of God and being able to accept that person that's willing to look themselves in the mirror. And you have acceptance beyond your own personal bias, because bias allows you to reject the blessing of your life, allows you to reject what you want to come in, what you want to expand upon. And then bias and ego and vanity don't allow us to accept the blessing that is inside of ourselves. So God's source energy in the great I am, in the great sphere of creation, we allow ourselves to be that sphere of light so that we can come full circle and put everything inside of that vortex and put everything inside of those 5 things that we do every single day that allow us to bless ourselves, to generate different revenues and streams and frequencies that allow us to come full circle so that we can come back around again and then counterclockwise. So I watched a movie, Needle in a Time Stack. That's what the title of the movie was. And it was very profound when I watched that movie, because that's what they said, that love is a circle, and that love and death are the same concept because they're generating the same freedom. What we do in spirituality when we're clearing and we're healing and we're releasing and letting go more of is that we're having a death of the old self, the flesh, the ego, the vanity. So then that death turns into love, and then that love turns into acceptance, and then it turns into the transfiguration of the soul, and then it turns into transmutation. So that transmutation allows us to subtract what we were limiting ourselves. It allows us to get rid of all the things that we're costing ourselves, everything within our lives. And then it finally allows us to put all the things in our life that blesses us. So we become a dazzling white being of light. So when I say the transfiguration, I'm making a metaphor to Jesus on the mountain with the disciples. Even though I'm a psychic, doesn't mean we can't take wisdom from everything, because all paths really lead to God. It's just finding what resonates for you, finding what allows you to be in sync with yourself. And it allows us to be that so that there is no shadow, that there is no toxicity, so that we're finally channeling from within there, from within here, internal. So then the external starts to change with us. And it starts to recalibrate, resynchronize, and starts putting in the placements of energy. And it puts every piece within that puzzle, and it starts to connect the dots, and it starts to connect everything back into sync. And it starts to unfold, and it's really beautiful because it allows you to see, like, man, these things are working out. My life is completely different. I'm a completely different person than I was 20 minutes ago. And I say that a lot of my lives, but it's true. Because you're staying relevant, and you're staying present, and you're staying consistent. So we generate this luminosity because from a far distance, from this computer or this phone, we can be radiant and we can be bright, and we can allow our light can recalibrate the entire universe and send love and light back into that, so that we can be the heart of the universe so that everybody is interwoven and interconnected within the universe, within the motherboard of creation, within the vortex. So we're going to be doing a meditation. So if you want to take part in this meditation, and what I want this to simulate for you is what you really desire. How do you want to radiate that light, but also how do you want to focus on those 5 things that allow you to manifest, that allow you to come full circle, that allow you to recalibrate yourself and to find the excitement and the joy and the intention towards everything in your life. So everybody can focus on an object. You can lay down, and you can also stand, and you can move around if you would like to. So with this meditation, what I want you to do is I want you to take a deep breath. Exhale. And I want you to see how radiant, how bright, and how luminous you can really be. You can become luminosity. You can generate this longevity of creation because you're the light that is appearing into creation, because creation is made of light, and light is the appearance of everything. So when you see how you can change the way that you emote, the way that you channel, and you channel internally from who you are, and you allow yourself to become that vortex of creation, hence the circle of life, hence coming full circle, and imbibing each parallel reality, each I am presence, each stage of your journey, so that you can see yourself when you are 30, you can see yourself when you are 40 or 50, but you can see how the expansion and the progression elevates and grows and changes and shifts into the current state and the relevancy of the present moment. So, and then that circle comes right back around and then lassos itself back like a boomerang, so that it's reciprocating God. It's reciprocating the I am presence. So that you're reflecting everything that represents your I am presence, your consciousness. You're finding all the things that represent you, that fit within the space and the scope of consciousness of who you are. So it's like you're looking through the telescope of creation and seeing everything in a flash of an eye. It's like you're seeing the experiences you've had, the relationships, the fulfillment, the success, everything. And you allow the light and the dark to come into balance when you're looking through this telescope. And you can also look at it as a kaleidoscope, because at the end of it, there is this absolute reality that you're encompassing yourself in. It's kind of like when Dr. Strange goes through the wormhole, and he's going through time and space, and he's going through different dimensions, and he's going from outer space, and he's going from like Dubai and then this place, and shifting into these different states of beings. Well, that's what's happening to a lot of us on this earth plane. A lot of us are channeling that embodiment. Which allows us to see our past lifetimes, to see our toxic traits, to see our egoic traits, and to also look at ourselves as more than, and increasing our worthiness, because it's allowing ourselves to be that sphere of light. It all starts from that 0 point creation, but then the appearance of light dawns, and then everything is made manifested and created, and then you start this incarnation. And that's what I mean by the great beyond, because it's beyond comprehension. It's something indescribable, but it's something that can be accessed through a breaching of a density of consciousness. And I want you to see yourself having successful relationships. I want you to see yourself having great businesses, a great partner, a great car, being able to have your psychic abilities to bless this earth in such immense ways. That you're here of service because you've been of service to the One. But now it's time to spread that love and to give something to this universe. We don't have to necessarily save the world. The world is being saved because of all of us uniting and standing on this front and coming back into balance with our true divinity is why we're helping the universe be saved. So that's why when we're radiating that light, it's allowing ourselves to come back into balance with who we really are. So that we can be our authentic selves. So that we can be the light that's bursting in. So you have to see yourself as the world, and then the world will change around you. You have to feel like the electromagnetic kinetic source energy and that force field that is around you. That you are the orchestration of that divine obedience and staying true to the divine plan. You don't do things for no reason. You do things because you are called to do things. That you have been chosen. That you have been handpicked. And that you are one of the prophets of this new golden age. An oracle of love, light, and wisdom. And that's how we're designed to be. We're designed to be of a nature of abundance. To change the energy where we go. To make sure that we are the blessing, but we're not the opposition. We're not the war. We're not the problem, but we're the resolution. And that's what's beautiful about meditation, is because you can find redemption, you can find resolution, you can find all of the problems being absolved, and all the toxic traits and the shadows and the ego being disintegrated into ash and finally cleared from the decks, because we're just clearing the decks for the collective. And at the end of the day, we're just showing what is possible. In the realm of infinite possibilities. Everyone take one last deep breath. Exhale. And so it is. I hope you guys were blessed by that meditation. I felt like it was very powerful. And it's an honor and a privilege to relay to you guys, and just know that I had a situation last night, and I'm not going to go into details, but everybody who was on there, I did my best to protect you all, and I had the divine tell me to expose that person and to protect everybody who is receiving from me, because they were interfering with the transference of energy. And I watched it back, and I wanted to see if maybe I had to check myself, and I watched it back, and I felt the love from myself. And it wasn't a matter of being right or wrong, but it was a matter of just being the light and trying to allow everybody to be safe and protected. And just know that I honor you guys. I honor the recipients here. And I have much love for all of you, so that you can be the best that you can be. And that's why I do my messages and readings and stuff like that. But I will, and right now, and before this live, I set up protection for all the people who would receive. And I put a 10-layer protection grid over the feed. And I sent protection to all of you, because what happened last night was very despicable. You know, I'm not going to say what happened, but all of you, the person who is on here liking this knew what happened. And the divine told me what to say, and the divine ordered me, and they instructed me to say what I needed to say. And I just want to let you guys know that I never, ever get on lives to respond to people. And it was just one of those surprising things. Yeah. So I want you guys to guard your hearts. I love you. Thank you so much for letting me to relay to you. And I hope the internet connection was good. And yeah, I just want to thank you guys for letting me do that. That was very powerful. And I had this amazing download. It felt like I was in a boat, and I was like rocking like this before I did my live. And it just felt so weird. And I was like, oh, am I going to fall over? And I had magical moments today, magical moments of like healing and tearing up. And my girlfriend had an experience with her African shaman, and I almost fell over. I mean, it was just a beautiful Easter Sunday. So I wanna thank you all, and I just wanted to clarify, if any of you saw that, that I had to do that, and I do everything out of obedience to the divine. And I mean, if I had the money and the divine told me to send someone money, I would, you know. And like, if the divine told me to help this said person, then I would. So it's just how I have my gifting, you know. So I want to thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. Also, book private sessions with me for $70 for 1 hour. Also, go to my YouTube channel. If you're watching on other platforms as well, just know that we are live on TikTok. So YouTube, White Wolf the Oracle, Instagram, whitewolf4741, and BitChute, whitewolf23_@symbol. I hope you enjoyed the meditation. Thank you guys so much. God bless, and namaste. Thank you so much for receiving. If I figure out how to shut this live off.